You want to get better at Hunt Showdown? Alright then, I got some tips for you. Let's not waste any time and get right into it. So the first thing I would like to start with is aim at head level. What I mean by that is rather than having your aim pointed at upper body level and lower body level, have it actually on head level. Because what happens most of the times is that player hit lower body level and upper body level, but this unfortunately doesn't kill you an enemy in one shot, and this gives them the time to go back and cover and heal themselves and come back again so that the fight starts again. But if you train yourself to have your aim on head level, then the shot you will hit, it will drop them. And that's why I recommend keeping your crosshair at head level at all times. You could train that by going into shooting range and have your train yourself headshotting the mannequins over there, or actually when you get in a map, have your aim always pointed at head level. Of course at the beginning it's gonna be hard if you're not used to it, but once you get used to it and get better at it, believe me, it's gonna help a lot, especially if you are solo. Now to my second tip that I have on the list for you is bulwark. Bulwark is a trait that could save you in a lot of situations and could save you from a lot of explosions. Because what this trait does is it reduces explosion damage by 50%, literally 50%, and it only costs 2 upgrade points. Only 2. This thing is so cheap, and I think you should have it always on you. Any explosion you can think of, whether it's a dynamite, a bundle dynamite, even a barrel, it will save you from all of these. You know what the most interesting thing is about this though? It will actually save you from a harpoon shot, a bomb launch shot, a direct hit. But note one thing only, that it doesn't work against frag bombs, because frag bombs work differently. Now coming to the third point, which is going to be map knowledge. Map knowledge is actually one of the key factors to get better at Hunt Showdown, because this could improve you on a lot of things. For example, it could increase your flanking ideas, ambushing ideas, or improve your positioning skills and timing, or rotations. Those things are going to save you on a lot of times if you are good at them. Or it could improve you on one of the most important things, which is predicting the enemy movement. If you know how your enemy moves, you are going to be the one controlling the fight. Now that aside, how do you improve that the best? The best advice I have for you is actually going and playing trials. There's 3 maps in Hunt Showdown. 2 of them have trials, and unfortunately one of them still doesn't have it, but those 2 are kind of enough, I would say. These trials provide missions in every and single PY actually, and this is going to help you to increase your map knowledge. The better map knowledge you have, the better you are at map awareness. Now so far I hope one of these tips helped you. If it didn't, please don't roast me in comments. And now coming to the fourth point, which is faster item swap. And one of the things I see most of the players do, and I think it's not the optimal way to do it, is when they swap their items or consumables or guns. What they do, they use their mouse scroll to do that. Now it's doable, but it's not the best, because some of you might say, well, it takes milliseconds to get to the item you want, but how about you reduce that to 0.000 seconds? You know what I'm saying? So the best thing I recommend is actually key binding every single item and consumable. Not to mention, it will take some time until you get used to it, but once you get used to it, believe me, you're gonna be thankful. This is gonna save you a lot of trouble. Now the next tip I have for you is choosing the right trades. If you have the right trade for your loadout, then you're going to be using your loadout to its fullest, or to its highest power. There's a lot of trades, but not every trade is essential for your loadout. If you don't know what I'm saying, let me give you an example. Let's say you have a bow loadout, right? It will make sense if you go for 100 hands, or a blades here, or a declaw. Declaw is not gonna be necessarily good here, but it's something you could take for your loadout. But it's not going to make sense if you, let's say, you take a bullet cripper or steady hand or iron devastator. Those things are not going to help for your loadout, the bow loadout. So I hope I made the point clear, but if you didn't, feel free asking questions, comments down below. Now to know what trades work best for your loadout, you could do some research and come back and test it out with my next tip, which is take advantage of the shooting range. Somehow shooting range is hard for me to say, but anyways, in shooting range, you could actually test out whatever you want. You could test out new traits with your loadout. You could just test out the bullets, how they work, how much the damage they do. You could actually, with your ping, see how much the distance is, how much your guns do damage on different distances and stuff like that. There is a lot to do in shooting range, so I would recommend you actually taking advantage of that. This will increase your knowledge and will make you aware of actually what you're using if you test out new things. things. Now coming to the next tip, which is going to be Kiteskin. Kiteskin is another trait that I think it's essential and you should always have it on you, because this trait works similar to bulwark, but rather than saving you from explosions, it saves you from fall damage. What it does is just this trait reduces fall damage by 50%, literally 50%, and it's even cheaper than bulwark. It costs only 1 upgrade point. If I was using this trait, I would have saved myself so many times, but I wasn't. But now you know. Now coming to tip number 8 is going to be throwable sound. Did you know that every single throwable that could be thrown at you has actually a different sound, and you could tell what the enemy is holding in his hand, and sometimes you don't have to give up your position because it's not going to be lethal. For example, a frag bomb, when it's being lightened up, it has a different sound than a dynamite. A dynamite has a different sound than a flash bomb, and a flash bomb has a different sound than even a concertina bomb, or a choke bomb, or a fuse. Actually, all these things, all these throwables, if you train yourself on the sound, you could tell what's actually being thrown at you. What I see a lot of players do wrong is the second they hear something is being cooked, to just run away, not knowing what that is, and not knowing that actually it's not going to be lethal, not going to kill them. So they lose their position and they are being fooled easily. Do not be one of them. Now similar to tip number 8, my next tip is faux firearms sound. Just as you could tell what's being thrown at you, you could tell what kind of guns your enemy is actually using. If you're aware of what's being used by your enemy, you could position yourself based on that, or based on your loadown. For example, let's say based on the sound, you could tell your enemy is using a shotgun and you have a rifle, so you wouldn't want to get close on that guy because close range is going to be his territory. Or let's say your enemy has fanning and the gun he's using is Coldwell conversion chain pistol. That gun, you wouldn't want to get close from that guy because he's gonna rain bullets at you and most likely gonna be dead after he sees you or shoots you through a wall, because he's never gonna stop shooting. It's just an example. There's more examples to it, but you get the idea, I hope. And to train that the best, there's 3 ways I could enlighten you upon it. One of the ways you could do is in lobby itself, you go to Arsenal and then choose the gun you want and choose 3D view. From there you could shorten the distance or get far from the gun so you could tell how the gun sounds on different distances. Or you could get in shooting range and have a friend on the other side using the gun, you're not knowing what it is, and he shoots and you could guess what the gun is and see if you're right or not about it. Or in game itself, if you hear the enemy is shooting, guess what the enemy is using after, let's say you got him, you killed him. See if you could find that gun on your enemy, and if you find it, you're right about what you guessed. But if you didn't, then you need more training. Now coming to the last point, which is not every fight is your fight actually, because the objective of this game is actually to get the bounty and extract, and this is the only way you could get hunt dollars. But if you take fights that are not on the objective, then you're wasting your time, because you might get a lot of kills, but then you will realize that the bounty team is already out or on the extraction, so you missed the objective, you didn't earn any money, and you come back to lobby empty-handed. So what I recommend here is, if you hear shots that are not on the objective, I wouldn't recommend you taking it unless you have to. Even if you encounter a team on a PY, you could actually leave that team, go to the objective, because that team will come to the objective anyways. But if you take on the fight in another PY, then another team will get to the bounty, while you're distracted with another team. So like I said, don't take every fight that is not yours. Congrats my friend, you made it to the end. I hope one of these tips did help you. If there's anything you didn't understand, please feel free to ask your questions down below. I'll try my best answering them, and I will appreciate a like, and take care my friend. Till next time.